Well, hello everyone. It is Karen Ann Harlos with your weekly tips and tricks on Robert's Rules of Order on the Pink Parliamentarian. And I realize that my camera is a little bit grainy and I cannot figure out why. I am using my iPhone. It usually comes across great. I've been tinkering with it and just decided we need to get this episode going. And don't you love the shirt? If you watch Seinfeld, it's like the puffy shirt from the Low Talker. She made me wear the puffy shirt. I don't want to look like a pink pirate, but I look like a pink pirate. I am a registered parliamentarian with the National Association of Parliamentarians. You can check out my website at pinkparliamentarian.com. Check out the services I offer. I have very reasonable rates and do offer a brief free consultation. But let's get to this week's topic. And this builds upon all of the discussions we've had before about a majority. And today we are going to be talking about a qualified majority. And what is that? I am so glad you asked. This just gives you another reason not to add the word simple before majority so that you're not adding an ambiguity or perhaps introducing a qualification. So let's go right to Roberts on this. I'm going to put on my old lady glasses and we're going to do a little bit of reading because this can get a little bit more complicated. So we're going to go to Robert's Rules of Order, RONR 44.9 and following. And what's interesting here is I actually learned something doing this episode, which is regarding the intrinsically irrelevant negative vote. And I think we're going to cover that next episode because it's a really interesting concept. But let's go right to the holy book now, shall we? Regarding these bases for determining a voting result, the following points should be noted. A. Voting requirements based on the number of members present, a majority of those present, etc., while possible, are generally undesirable. Since an abstention in such a case has the same effect as a negative vote, these bases deny members the right to maintain a neutral position by abstaining. For the same reason, members present who fail to vote through indifference rather than deliberate neutrality may affect the result negatively. When such a vote is required, and this is the interesting part, however, the chair must count those present immediately after the affirmative vote is taken before any change can take place in attendance. The negative vote is not taken since it is intrinsically irrelevant to determining whether the motion is adopted. So say you have a board of 10 and everyone is there and the vote required is a majority of those present. It will take 6 to pass it, regardless of abstentions. So if you have 3 people who were going to vote no and 2 would abstain, it would be mathematically impossible for that to pass. So the chair counts the affirmative vote, 5, how many people are there, and can declare that the motion fails at that point without ever taking the negative vote. Now, I don't agree with that because, as they said, there are some members who might want to indicate a deliberate neutrality, and there are some members who may wish to indicate a definite no. But I'm just going by what it says here. Somebody disagrees with me, let me know in the comments, but that's the way that I understand that. And then B says a majority of the entire membership is a majority of the total number of those who are members of the voting body at the time of the vote. Thus, in a society that has both a general membership and an executive board, a majority of the entire membership at a board meeting refers to a majority of the membership of the board, not of the society. In a convention of delegates, a majority of the entire membership means a majority of the total number of convention members entitled to vote as set forth in the official roll of voting members of the convention. The vote of a majority of the entire membership is frequently an alternative to the requirement of previous notice and is required in order to rescind and expunge from the minutes. This majority of the entire membership, you will hear parliamentarians abbreviate it as MOM, majority of membership. Otherwise, prescribing such a requirement is generally unsatisfactory in an assembly of an ordinary society, since it is likely to be impossible to get a majority of the entire membership even to attend a given meeting, although in certain circumstances it may be appropriate in conventions or in permanent boards where members are obligated to attend the meeting. So in smaller boards where it's a requirement to attend, that's not quite so bad. So when you do these qualified majorities, you really need, or even qualified supermajorities, which I don't like the term supermajority either, but I think you understand what I mean. It is definitely something that you want to think about if it's going to serve the body. Perhaps you want to make the bar that high. So there is a relevant footnote in this section that states, in the case of a body having a fixed membership, for example, a permanent board, it is also possible to define a voting requirement as a majority of the fixed membership, which is greater than a majority of the entire membership if there are vacancies on the board. And it gives an example here. Thus, in a board whose membership is fixed at 12, if 2 members have died and their successors have not been named, a majority of the entire membership is 6, and a majority of the fixed membership is 7. Where a majority of the fixed membership is required for a decision, the body cannot act if half or more of the membership positions are vacant. So that is definitely a pitfall. Now, I note that Cannon's Concise Guide to Rules of Order follows Roberts with this, though not quite as in-depth an explanation. And same thing with the American Institute of Parliamentarians Standard Code. And one thing that Cannon's notes, and let's get the notes back, it says that a majority of the membership means more than half of all of the members, whether present or not, just like Roberts, and whether voting or not, just like Roberts. But here's an interesting note. The Democratic National Convention is an example of an assembly employing this rule. It requires a majority of all delegates for certain motions. This type of majority is also referred to as a constitutional majority. Now, I had never heard that term before, and I don't know if this is still employed by the Democratic National Convention. Oh, and I also wanted to throw in there that Demeter's, probably mispronouncing that, also follows this same general rubric. So hopefully these multiple shows on what is a majority and this show on a qualified majority has helped. Please let me know. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Please head on over. First, hit subscribe here. Go ahead, do it. I move that you hit subscribe to this channel. But then if you would like to hear my perspectives from a libertarian point of view on politics, go on over to Pink Flame of Liberty. And I also do a show that indulges my love of history and etymology at Jurassic Dictionary. So those are a couple other shows that you may wish to subscribe to. Remember, check out my website at pinkparliamentarian.com. And until next time, I hope you have an awesome day or night or whatever it is in your part of the world. Bye-bye.